confidence in him. He's playing fast.
Yeah, he's getting better and better, obviously. Seems like I say that each week, but he really is. And I think for him, it was a decision he made, probably around after he sat out the Miami game. I think he figured out this was pretty serious, and he knows that he has an ability that can help us this year. And I've been very pleased with his work ethic. It's really improved over the last 4 or 5 weeks. And, for a young guy to be able to go out there and have that type of success, on the road at NC State versus good secondary, and then obviously Florida State, and now, this past week at Syracuse, there's nothing better for a young, talented player to go out and have success and just have that confidence. I think it makes it a little bit easier for him each game, and we'll continue to find ways to get him the ball. And equally as pleased with Sharon Peak. I think they've, the beginning of the year, obviously we were all disappointed in Mike Williams' injury, and that was going to be a big question that everybody had, was how you're going to replace Mike. And our answer was we're not going to replace him with one person, but hopefully we get some really good play from the other guys. And I think right now Sharon and Dion, are a great 1-2 punch there in the boundary at our 9-man position. And I haven't looked specifically at what their totals and all that have been the last 3 or 4 weeks, but I would say we're getting a lot of great execution from that position right now. Both of those guys are doing well.
Seems like since Sharon, we watched him with the great block down in Miami that helped spring Deshaun. Saw another one Saturday, then I saw him run over a defensive back after a tunnel screen. What switch has kind of flipped for him to where he's just more aggressive?
Well, I'm just very happy for him that he's playing his best ball right here at the end. He's a guy that, as a coach, you feel for, because he's very talented, and he just had a lot of things that he couldn't control. They were out of his control with the injuries and different things. And by the time he would get back, there were other guys that maybe established their roles, some talented guys with obviously Nuke and Sammy and Martavis. And Sharon's just been that guy that's been very just kind of persistent, worked his way through it. And but he's definitely playing his best ball right here at the right time at the end of the year. And I think he's playing very confident. I think Deshaun and him are on the same page. I think that's difficult a little bit for a quarterback. One of the things we like to do is rotate a lot of receivers, like to play 6 or 7 guys a game, and it definitely has strong benefits to doing that. But also one of the challenges is your quarterback having the right timing with that many different people. And I think Sharon and Deshaun have gotten on the same page here these last few weeks, and feel very good about their timing and their connection. And I'm hoping to see continued success by Sharon here as we finish the year.
Other than the growth Deshaun has shown, much of it anticipated, what's the one area that when you look back over the first 10 games and you say this is what's made us to this point?
Yeah, without a doubt, it's the offensive line. That's no question about it. And really, we were talking to our offense the other day. One of the things when Coach Morris first got to Clemson, what was that, 2011? All these years are running together. He had on our offensive manual and everything that we handed out to the offense, it said most explosive offense in the country. And I can remember looking at that and thinking about 2010. And I'll say, well, that's about the opposite of where we were last year. And but really, I think over the last 4.5 years, we're kind of putting ourselves in that category as being one of the most explosive offenses in the country. And my message to our offense is the reason we're able to do that. Yes, we've got a lot of great skill guys, but the reason we're able to do that is because of the guys up front. And without the guys up front doing their job and doing it really well, we don't have time to throw the ball to some of the skills players that we have. We don't have the openings for Wayne and our running backs to be able to make those runs. And so, I feel like without a doubt, the offensive line has been one of the key elements that's made our offense as successful as we've been this year. And really coming back with a group where you had 4 new starters coming in, and then you lose your 1 returning starter and Ryan Norton. So really you've got 5 new starters out there, and for those guys to go from being one of the biggest question marks to being one of the biggest strengths this year, I think says a lot about the job that Robbie Caldwell's done in that room with the offensive line. He's done a great job, and then Eric McLean with the leadership, and Jay Guillermo has really stepped up. But I would say, looking back over 10 games, the offensive line has probably been the biggest thing that's allowed us to have the success that we've had outside of our skill guys.
While it would be easy to overstate that Mitch is the last piece of that puzzle, the thing that most seems to intrigue me a good bit is the evolution of Eric McLean and everything that Jay has come through to get to this point. And those might be, in my mind, 2 best stories on the offense.
All right.
Am I wrong?
So, I'm sorry.
So you had Eric's evolution,
right,
as an inside guy,
right,
and then Jay coming through his things.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think that's what football is all about. I mean, Coach Sweeney does a great job of really showing our guys examples of how football is really just a great example of how life is, and how there's several years in there where I know Jay didn't have the success that he wanted, being a highly recruited guy coming out of high school, and then same thing for Eric coming here as a tight end, getting moved to offensive line. It's kind of the start off at offensive tackle, and then you move down to guard. But just the perseverance that those guys have, and I think, to be honest, they're a great example of our football team. I mean, it's easy from the outside to look at some of the top skill guys that are ultra talented that come in and have success, but I think if you look back over the last 5 years of 10+ wins, we've done it with a lot of guys that have kind of been those blue-collar guys that have really had to work hard, had to persevere a lot throughout their career, and maybe by their junior or senior year, they're a big-time contributor. Last year I think about a guy like Reed Webster, who didn't hardly play at all his first 4 years here. And last year there probably wasn't a more valuable player on our offense than Reed Webster, who played every position on the offensive line throughout last season. So it just seems like we've had a lot of those guys, and I think that kind of goes to the culture that Coach Sweeney's really worked hard to create and build. Is we're not just trying to build and have the best team we can have that one year. We're really trying to build a program that really it provides opportunity for growth, and we're not a program that's going to go out and just sign 6 junior college guys because maybe the freshman and sophomore that we have, we don't think they're quite as good as we thought they were. We're going to spend time and develop the guys. Coach Sweeney's always on us hard as coaches, develop the guys that we have. It's easy to go out in recruiting and want to go try to find guys to come in and replace your guys, but hey, we recruited all these guys. Let's develop the guys we have on our team. And sometimes those guys that had to work that hard to get there, it means a little bit more to them. And I think that's what you're seeing in Eric and in Jay is they didn't have it easy to get to where they are, and it means an awful lot to them and really a lot of those guys in that room.
And could you throw Joe Gore into that same?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Joe's another great example. And really, to be honest, and kind of like you said, outside of Mitch, who maybe just showed up as a freshman, that whole group of offensive linemen, they've kind of been the backups, and maybe haven't had the exposure, or it's easy. Obviously, all the skill guys get a lot of the accolades and attention. And those guys have kind of been the forgotten group back there, and maybe for a while were said to be one of our weaknesses. And they've just come together, worked hard, and have really put themselves in a position to be a big reason we're having the success that we're having. But I just really like the culture in the room. It just feels like it's changed here over the past few years because of guys like Eric and Jay and Joe.
Martavis has not been at the punt return. He hasn't been as explosive the last month. Is he still limited?
Yeah, I think he had a bunch of catches. I think the good thing for us is that we've had some of these other guys that have been able to come on, and I know Ray Ray's out right now too. little bit, you know, but like, you know, Artavis is fine. You know, he had some opportunities. He made some good plays, and I know he had a couple of catches that he wanted to go and make, and maybe, you know, that's all it is for a wideout. Just one or two plays that really can make a difference. But I think we know what we have in him. We've got a lot of trust in him, and he'll be one of our go-to guys for sure here at the end of this run.